Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe, we can hear you.
Okay. You clearly got your technology working better than I have today. So,
Hi, Joe Urseg.
hello, is that Brenda Plant?
It is Brenda Plant. It's only been about, 15 years?
Yeah, something like that. And we're
Nice
both
to see you.
Likewise, we're busier than ever.
Yeah, I haven't sat still since the last time I talked to you, probably.
Me either. Oh, dear. Okay, so it's 3:31. Rustico, we're good to go, are we?
We're good to go, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let me just get the meeting going. I'll call the meeting to order for the Development Permit Panel for December the 13th, 2023. The purpose of the panel is to review development projects in terms of design, so site planning, architectural and landscape design. It's not actually to determine whether a project or a zoning goes ahead. That's determined by council. And the panel receives input from the public in order to conduct its review. So, and on the panel today, we have Cecilia Asham with the city and Peter Russell also with the city. And I'm chairing, I'm Joe Urseg. So we just have one item on the agenda today, which we'll get to in a bit. And for any members of the public, we've got some folks here. I'm not quite sure whether they're from the public. For any members of the public, we are going to have a presentation of the project by the applicant and the applicant's consulting team. We'll then hear comments from city staff, and we will then open up the floor for any public comments, either verbal or written. And so with that, let's get going. The first item of business is actually adoption of some minutes back in November 29, 2023. So moved. Peter, Cecilia, okay. We'll call them past adopted. So that brings us to the one application. It's a development permit. Applicant is Bonnie Madsen Architects. The property address is 4831 Steveston Highway. And the purpose of this development permit is to allow for the construction of a 3-story, 25-unit residential building. And this site was recently rezoned. So we're now just looking at the design of the project. There is one variance associated with the development permit, and it's a bit technical in nature, but it's to allow 37% of the vehicle parking spaces to be what we call a small car space. So that's it for me. Who's going to present this project? Yeah, okay, great. Anthony, I'm going to throw it over to you. So are you going to pop up some plans on the screen?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Shall I just start in?
Yeah, I'll just start with your name and address for the record.
Sure. Anthony Bonnie, a partner with Bonnie Madsen Architects, 3732 West Broadway in Vancouver. It's good to be here again in front of council, or sort of council.
Oh, we're much more fun than council.
Yeah. and Joe, it's been a long time since we worked together as well, just like Brenda. So it's good to see you again. Yeah. So yes, a 25-unit supported housing project funded through CMHC, being operated by Turning Point Housing Society. Of the 25 units, 10 are 2-bedroom units, all of which meet the BUH Richmond accessibility requirements, 2 of which are fully accessible. And there are 15 studios, 4 of which meet the Burnaby Richmond accessibility requirements. So there's 56% of the units meet the BUH here. There will be 24/7 staffing that will provide some programming and counseling supports to the women and children that will be living in this project. So just a little bit of context to the site. As you all know, the corners of Stevenson and Railway. Can you still hear me?
We can. There was a glitch there, Anthony. I'm not sure. Just keep going. We'll let you know if it's a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No.
Well, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going till we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. Yeah, so the context is, as we know, there's a greenway on the east side of our property. There is a on-site sanitary force main that we have to respect in many ways, and there's a setback to that. That's shown on the green line is the on-site force main on the east side, and the setback to that. We tried as much as we can to create as much setback between us and our neighbors to the west, 10 to 10.6 meters from building to building. Our building setbacks are even more than the existing townhouse setbacks are to the property line. And our neighbors are a combination of 2- and 3-story townhomes. Part of the site issues to deal with is the access point is far away from the corner as much as possible. We've enlarged the bus loop, make that work. And all the on-site circulation is done through transportation studies to meet parking access, pickup for garbage, and all those lovely things. Some of the site layout issues that we worked with. This is funded through a CMHC Rapid Response Program, which led us to a prefabricated modular approach to the building. So a singular module noted here in blue is about 59.5 feet by 12 feet. And that kind of good or bad set the how the building gets laid out from a module perspective. And you can see it's pretty much a box to meet that requirements for functionality as well as energy performance. We located all of the kind of common areas to the south end of the property. There's amenity space and so on, entrance. And we defined that the kind of private open space for the residents would be kind of on the east and southeast corner of the property, away from the residents on the west side, and they can also enjoy the green belt on the east. The west side of our building is primarily our service side here for recycling, garbage pickup, mechanical, electrical rooms, all those things. We have bikes in and out of the building. And one of our strong mandates was to ensure that we provide, safe and secure outdoor spaces for the residents. Some of the site grading issues which were a challenge on this property is the flood control level that we had to maintain, which meant we had to raise the building about a meter above existing grade. So what that led us to do is create kind of a raised podium on the south end, and the blue is the outline of where we have retaining walls. So at the north end of these retaining walls, there's about a meter difference, and then as it slopes down towards to meet the property line on the south side. So this created this kind of raised area, and a bit challenging. On the east side, we were limited to retaining wall to the setback for the force main. So that kind of created the dynamics of how some of the site was working. At the north end of the property, we go back down to natural grade, and we mediate with the grade on north, east, and west sides of this property. We've tried to, like on the fencing on the west side, not to create too high a difference between us and our neighbor, about a 4-foot fence on that west side, so that on our neighbor's property, it wasn't such a high wall there. So everything slopes down from the entry point down to the site. Ground floor in a bit bigger detail. You can see how we've got the kind of amenity spaces, the offices, which provide some look over and overlook to the entrance, to the common areas, and to the common rooms. So there's some good functionality there. There's also some play room inside the building, and the exterior play area that Kristen will talk more about for children and for others. There's another kind of alternative outdoor space at the north end of the property, not to have only one location for residents to to enjoy outdoor space on the northeast corner. Sorry, let's go back to the ground floor. So the ground floor also has four two-bedroom units as well. And there is an elevator in the building. There is interior bike storage for the 10 Class 1 bikes. We've added additional 6 Class 1 bikes outside. There is some discussion at earlier stages about if we have a lot of tricycles and things like that, where to put them. So we've tried to add a bit more bike locations than was otherwise required. Second floor, 6 2-bedrooms. On this floor, lounge spaces, common laundry spaces, storage spaces for the residents. Third floor, all studios on this level, 4 of which, as I mentioned, meet the BUH requirements, and again, some laundry and storage to meet the needs of those residents on that floor. The exterior articulation, obviously, you're picking up clues from the neighbors and the residential feel, pitched roofs. The bottom elevation is what faces a railway, and it's probably a more prominent facade here, where we've tried to break up the elevation with dormers and different materiality to kind of break down the scale of the building. Although it isn't that big a building, still to modulate what that looks like. You can see the bottom kind of left there, that kind of red line. It kind of shows that grade implications. If you can see that at the bottom left there, from the street going up, that's that kind of grade difference coming from the street up to this little kind of podium level along that side. I can even, oh, sorry, I just did it wrong again. Press the wrong button. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Just this grade I'm showing here. Just I don't say that red line shows that grade difference here, and then around here is where the retaining goes back down to grade along that side. So just to give you an idea of what's happening, and then on the west elevation here, which faces the townhouses, similar articulation of the building masses. This is our front door. It's a bit more modulated because the stair module sticks away from the main building, so there is some shadows and dormers, and we've also incorporated a canopy that wraps around the front and the right and the east side of the building. It wraps around the corner here, and that creates some nice kind of covered spaces for other residents on the entry side, as well as into their outdoor space. The materials on the exterior, we're using all pre-finished hardy cement paneling and trims and so on the outside, all non-combustible. We are meeting, I didn't mention it, step 4 from the building code perspective. So there's obviously exterior insulation as part of the building envelope, triple glazing, all those wonderful things. Some views of the building on the top left. Kind of our entrance here. What we show in our drawings as fencing isn't as nice as what the landscape drawings actually show. It's a much more modulated fence. It is semi-transparent along this side, as well as the fence at the patio. We've agreed that that's a semi-transparent fence, providing enough privacy for the residents and their children, and to the public street, but not making it 100% solid. It doesn't show here, but there's intent of having another sign about there. This bottom right shows the kind of patio area coming off this is the kind of front office, and this is the amenity areas over here, out into their patio, which is because of the grade change to the retaining wall is stepped in nature. Another view, this is from the top left, is from the greenway. There's probably more vegetation here. I think it might be hard to actually see that building if you're jogging or riding along that greenway, but that gives you the idea what it might look like. On the bottom left shows what it looked like from the townhouse residences looking towards us. Kristen can talk about the landscaping.
Hey
If you're
everyone.
talking, Kristen.
Anthony, you have control. I guess I'll just tell you to
Yeah.
go next when we need it. So as Anthony mentioned, we do have a bit of grading restrictions here. So the amenity space has been divided into two areas, and we want to focus. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's probably for the best. We want to focus on providing as much flexibility in the spaces as well as durability of these materials, so that it can be low maintenance for the people using the spaces. So right off of the interior amenity, we have a flexible use deck, which is a little bit higher than the areas around it. This is also adjacent to a small play area. The play area will have storage bin for some small toys, a little playhouse, which Anthony's pointing to right there, and a mixture of surface textures with pour and place rubber and turf, so little kids can have a tactile experience. And then there's a small seating area as well as movable furniture around so that parents can keep an eye on the kids while also doing their own thing up there too. Moving down to the lower amenity space, from the stairs from that upper deck area, there's some nature play elements as we move along that space, a few urban agriculture planters right there. And this is all enclosed with that semi-permeable fence that Anthony mentioned before. There's two trees that are marked T, which will be transplanted, but otherwise we've made quite a few efforts to retain all the trees and work around with the existing vegetation. So as we move up north along that side, with the access path, there's another small seating nook coming around the trees. And then on the north side is a covered seating area and another dining space, just another space for adults maybe to be a little bit more private. And then the access path continues around to the west side where we've proposed an alley of new trees to provide some privacy from the neighbors. Mixed with these trees will be some birdhouses to encourage bird habitat, and throughout we have native and adaptive planting. We can talk about the entry real quick, I guess. Generally paved concrete entry. We have a flowering feature tree at the front, 8 bike parking spaces, as well as flowering trees at the south of the site to greet people when they're coming in.
Can you just run us through the trees that are being moved?
Yes. So the two trees, Anthony, if you could maybe put a dot on each of them. Yeah, those two trees right there.
Yeah.
These were selected because, as you can see where the extent of the root zone is, it would just be too impactful to the design and usability of the amenity spaces. So we're just going to move them slightly into the greenway.
Okay, so in the general...
Yeah, kind of right.
In the greenway. Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, so very close, but just to make that space usable. Otherwise, moving or jogging the fencing in the amenity space around them would have been
yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we can go to the next page.
Before I leave this page, I forgot to mention is that there is a route out of this north stair. We have to exit, so this is kind of an exit path that goes out to take people out towards the front, just from a exiting perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can zoom out a little bit here, I talked about this amenity space already, but just some of the character elements that we have in here. So the kind of flowering trees, movable furniture, low garden planters, so parents and their kids can grow and get their hands dirty a little bit. Durable paving, shelter, play huts. Next sheet.
I just want to stress again is just so it's clear. This is the right of way here for the sanitary line that we have to respect. We can't build on. And so this is the edge of our kind of retaining wall, which is on that edge of that setback. So just that's kind of the dynamics that we've worked with here.
Right.
If I could ask a question, there's a retaining wall and then there's a fence on top of the retaining wall. What is the total height of that?
There isn't the fence on. There's hang on. So the fence is over here.
Okay.
At the property line. On the retaining wall, we have just a guardrail. I think a glass guardrail, just because it's a falling hazard, right, for kids. But the fence is not on the retaining wall on this east side.
Okay.
So here's just the planting. If you want to look through that, it's a heavy focus on native species, very durable, low maintenance, but also some flowering and providing colors. So it's year-round interest.
I guess I have a similar question. There is a retaining wall along the west side.
Yeah. So what we've done on the west side is the retaining wall that's on this here will be a 4-foot high fence.
Okay.
Not a 6 foot high. But when it drops down to the remainder of the property back here, it'd be a standard 6 foot high fence.
So between the retaining wall and the height of and the top of the fence, when it appears to the neighbors, will be more than 6 feet then.
Only at this kind of end here, everything slopes down this way.
Okay.
So at this end it'd be 4 feet, and this end would be 4, 5, 6.5 ish or something like that. At this end here, yeah.
Well, it won't be much more than a standard fence, right?
Yeah, and there is an existing fence on that property line too. The neighbors do have a 6 foot fence there along this line here. Yeah. I just wanted to add that we have added these trees along here, along the east side here. Again, this just another buffer between our residents at this level to the residents on this side. Yeah.
So are they a species that's going to get some height to kind of screen out some of the building or soften it?
Yes, and we picked a more narrow species so that it still allows light through there, but will provide some privacy at the windows.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So that's our quick presentation. Questions, I can go back to any drawings that people want to refer to.
Okay. Maybe we'll go back to the regular screen and see. There we go. Okay, Cecilia, Peter, any questions?
No, my questions are answered. I just want to make sure that there's not too much of a height difference.
Yeah, okay. Peter?
No, I don't have any questions, Mr. Chair.
I did have a question about the retaining wall and the need, but I think it's driven by the floodproofing elevation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And it seems as if you tried to keep it under control and you've been mindful of how it's going to appear from the public domain and the properties to the west. So that's great. Yeah. Okay. So you lucked out. No questions. Wayne, staff comments?
Just a couple comments, Mr. Chair. There is a variance associated with this proposal. It is a technical variance based on the overall number of parking stalls. The zoning bylaw allows small car stalls for all parking lots that exceed 31 parking stalls in size. Due to the small number of stalls here, there is a variance required to allow the small car stalls. However, in doing so, it does allow for us to maximize the number of stalls that are provided and is consistent with the approach that would be applied to larger parking lots where 50% of the stalls may be small car. With respect to the parking, all of the parking stalls will be equipped with level 2 EV charging, including visitor stalls. The building has been designed to achieve energy step code level 4. And there is a servicing agreement for frontage works and site services associated with the project as well.
Okay. So Wayne, it'll meet step 4, which is more than it's required to do. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Sorry, Joe. The reason being is BC Housing is obviously a partner with this, and they require a higher level than what you would otherwise require.
Okay. Good.
And there's a good carbon performance, I note as well.
Yeah.
All right. Cecilia, anything for Wayne?
No.
Okay, I'm good. So it's a bit hard for me to tell whether there's anyone in the chamber that wants to present to this. Is there someone from Clerks that can let me know?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's no one in chambers to delegate on this item.
Okay, and Rustico, is there anything written on this one?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay, good. So that brings us to panel deliberation. There is a staff recommendation, and I guess I'll look for a mover and a seconder in a minute, but I'm happy to support the project. I mean, in some ways, it's a modest project, but it's very functional, and you've paid good attention to the greenway and the neighbours. So, and certainly it's a project that that we need. So I'm going to be happy to support it. Are there any, Cecilia or Peter, any comments from you guys?
Yeah, but I could just add, I'm happy to see this. It adds to the continuum of housing that we need, very much so. So thank you. I know a lot of work has been put into this, Brenda.
So do you want to move it, Cecilia?
Sure, I'll move it.
Move the staff recommendation. Peter seconds. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favour? Opposed? It's carried. There you go. So I think, Wayne, you had said that because of there aren't a lot of requirements to be met, this will likely go to the special council meeting.
That is correct. We are anticipating that this will be on the December 20th agenda.
Okay, terrific. Well, thanks very much and well done, not just to the applicant, the design team, but also the city staff. We've got city staff here as well. I know there's been a lot of work that's gone into this in a really short period of time. So well done, everyone. Thank you. Okay, Wayne, any new business?
No new business, Mr. Chair.
And do we need the meeting on January 17? We do? Okay.
Yes.
So that brings us to adjournment. So unless there's someone opposing it, we're adjourned. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.